Something a little bit different today. Watch a new short film in our Shortcuts series, and then afterwards, we'll break down what makes something cinematic. If you follow our channel, you know we've done several episodes on our Shortcuts series and making one short film a day. We made 20 short films in 20 days. So the short film we just played, you might have seen in a previous episode where we teased it. So now we're going to talk about how we made that short. Here's the gear we used: an iPhone 8 Plus, a helium core rig, Moondog Labs anamorphic adapter, several handles. We shot this handheld, and these handles came in real handy. Also used some filters, and of course FiLMiC Pro in the cinematography kit, shooting in a flat profile. When we're outside, we shoot log. When we're inside in lower light, we'll shoot flat. Shooting in a flat profile and at 24 frames per second really helps make something cinematic, regardless of the camera you're using. That's one of the first steps you would take. Here you can see the difference between the graded and the ungraded footage. For grading, we used our LUT Packs. And it's not a heavy grade. The footage right out of the camera looks pretty good. It's a little desaturated and a little bit flat. But overall, it looks pretty decent, and so the grading was minimal. As mentioned, we did use our LUT Packs, and we edited and graded this in Final Cut Pro 10. We've been using Final Cut Pro 10 on our short films because of the way Final Cut handles the skimming and the playback. It just seems to work better than other applications. And so we'll go through these real quickly and just show you what I did. I used our LUT Packs, and you can see right here, I used the iPhone log morning coffee. It just adds a little bit of warmth to the midtones. It's basically the utility LUT with a little bit of warmth added and a little bit lower contrast. So here I went through and did that to each and every clip, corrected as needed. Some clips were a little darker than others. Did the refinements necessary to make it all match, and then applied a grade to give it more of a film curve. This last shot was probably the heaviest grade. You can see the before and after there. Had some lens flare, so it washed out the image a little bit. So added back in some contrast along with the LUT and punched up the colors a little bit. Another component to something being cinematic is obviously lighting. And in this case, it was just a window, single source, available light. If you look at a lot of movies, oftentimes DPs will do single source style lighting. 3-point lighting that you hear about a lot, that's more for corporate video or interviews, that kind of thing. In movies, I like my light to be motivated. And so a window or a light above a table, that kind of thing. Now, if there was people in the shot, you would probably use like a kicker light or maybe a fill light, but this single source light really had a nice texture to it, drama to it, if you will, and created what I think was a very naturally lit cinematic feel. Something you don't often talk about with smartphone footage is bokeh, or shallow depth of field. And I'm not someone who instantly associates bokeh with cinema. If you look at the gamut of movies from the past, even through today, deep focus can be just as cinematic. There's so many other things involved. However, one telltale sign of mobile phone footage is that everything's in focus. So when you can get something out of focus, shallow depth of field, that's a plus. So all these shots by the window, using this anamorphic lens and an ND filter, I got some decent shallow depth of field. This shot in particular, I was using the autofocus mode, and as I dollied in, you can see the background focus rack. As I get closer, the background goes more out of focus. To me, that's really cinematic, and it's an awesome thing you can now do with FiLMiC Pro. Shooting with the Moondog Labs anamorphic adapter, you get true widescreen. This footage was not letterboxed, as in shooting 16:9 and just letterboxing it like most of the time you see on YouTube. Nothing wrong with that, but in this case, this was actually shot widescreen. You can see here I zoomed into the image to make it fill the 16:9 screen. So when I push back, it is in theory letterboxed within this 16:9 video, but the footage itself was true widescreen footage. And, in my opinion, more cinematic. So ultimately, all these things come together to create a cinematic image. It's not just 24p, it's not just one thing or the other. It takes them all to make it look really good. And the really great thing is today you can do all this with a smartphone. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you won't miss any of our future videos. And we will see you guys in the next one.